Hello everybody, Resonance here, and today I have another expert game for you guys as part of my Break the Meta series for Age of Empires 2. Throughout this series I'll be showcasing a wide variety of creative and situational strategies while evaluating how they might stack up in the current metagame. We've all seen our fair share of galley rushes and knights, so today it's time for something completely different. It's time for a Turks Fast Imperial Age rush. In this expert match, Kkab will be playing against DauT in a 1v1 on the map Arena. On the right side of the map, we have Kkab playing as the blue Turks, and on the left side of the map, we have DauT playing as the red Japanese. Break the Meta essentially is a video series that's all about showcasing strategies that you won't commonly see in pro tournaments. And while the Turks Fast Imperial Age rush is a strategy that the Turks are more or less known for, the Turks as a civilization is a very unpopular pick in expert Age of Empires 2 games. The Turks run into this huge problem where, well, based off their tech tree, they don't have very good late game when they don't have access to gold. If we take a brief look at their tech tree, they're missing Elite Skirmisher. They're the only civ in the game that's missing Elite Skirmisher and Pikeman. So that means that, you know, in the late game when all the gold is out, the Turks can really only make Hussars, and especially in a 1v1 situation, the game might drag. Gold is not a given. It could run out. And that's one of the reasons why we don't commonly see the Turks too much in pro games. But that being said, the Turks do have a very, very powerful special niche that really no other civilization occupies besides maybe the Byzantines. The Turks have this incredibly potent bonus where they get chemistry for free. And chemistry is a really, really powerful technology, giving you access to all those fancy gunpowder units and one more damage on your ranged units as well. And the thing is that chemistry as a technology might be relatively cheap, but it takes absolutely forever to research, and getting chemistry for free carries with it some unexpected power. Dealing with gunpowder units in the Castle Age is incredibly difficult. So what you can do as the Turks, especially on a map like Arena or Black Forest, is that you could say, go for a fast Imperial Age, get to the Imperial Age as quickly as you can, then you get the free chemistry instantly. And with chemistry, you can start making gunpowder units. You can start spamming hand cannoneers and bombard cannons before your opponent really even has a chance to do anything. Your opponent will still be in the Castle Age, and what are they going to do against your superior technology? They're probably going to die. Speaking of dying, I really hope this scout doesn't die, as both players here, DauT and Kkab, going to be trying to lure their boar with their scout. This way, their villagers just get to spend more time working, and they don't have to, you know, walk all the way over to go grab that boar. Every little bit counts in high-level Age of Empires 2. So this is a strategy that really, like, the Turks are more or less known for. The Byzantines can do this too because their Imperial Age costs less, but they don't get chemistry for free, and the Turks' gunpowder is super-duper good. We know that their late game is a little bit shaky. However, their, like, early Imperial Age is crazy powerful. Their gunpowder units are a force to be reckoned with, especially when they have, you know, extra HP too. And I'm really, really curious to see how DauT responds, as this is a very fancy civ matchup that we don't normally see. You know, Turks versus Japanese on Arena, and now the Turks, of course, can do, you know, all sorts of strategies a lot better in team games. When it comes to like a 1v1 in Arabia, they're pretty weak, but on Arena, since, you know, you start with walls, you're pretty good to go. You can go for something like a Fast Imperial Age and not really get punished too hard. The Turks, their eco bonus, guys, is that they mine gold just a little bit faster, and that's, you know, helpful if you're going for archers or knights or something like that, but compared to the top tier, like 1v1 civilizations, it doesn't necessarily add up. So their early, you know, their super early game isn't exactly perfect. You know, you'd much rather have 50% faster hunting, villagers carry +5, you know, that's what the Mongols have the hunting bonus, the Aztecs carry more resources with their vills. Mayans, with their resources lasting 20% longer, and an extra villager is pretty huge. The Turks, though, no slackers. I think it's all about playing to your civilization's strengths, and I think that the Turks as a civilization is just very, very underrated. Now, we're starting to get to the more interesting part. The meat of this video is going to be, what exactly is Kkab doing different here? So far, things have been relatively standard, but observe, there's evil afoot. Something is clearly wrong about his build order, or he's going for Fast Imperial Age, which is obviously the latter. we know that something is up here because he's still making villagers, right? Like, normally, you would go to the feudal age at, anywhere from, like, the 20 population to, like, the, 28 maybe at the latest. But you would really never, like, continually produce villagers beyond that, and however many you make in the Dark Age is indicative of what strategy you're going for. And if you're still pumping out villagers at this phase in the game, that's pretty crazy. Some of you might be wondering, by the way, why there's no spectator overlay, as I do have that in some of my expert gameplay videos, and I don't have the spectator overlay because this is actually a very, well, it's not like a very old replay, but it's old enough that the spectator dashboard only works the newest user patch version of Age of Empires 2, so this is like a 1.0c replay, of course, submitted by Cision from AOC Box. So yeah, we see based off his build, there's all sorts of wacky things going on here. For one, like this gold mine's going up really, really late. He's still pumping out villagers at this point. He's stockpiling a lot of food. This is a ridiculous amount of farms. I mean, his opponent is also, DauT's actually also going for what appears to be a substantially slower, no, it's not substantially slower, but he does have a lot of farms. So yeah, it looks like, actually no, DauT's going to be going for pretty standard fast castle time. This is all about, 27 out of 30. This is what we expect to see on Arena. Ooh, Deer's gonna leash back. That sucks. He's trying to go push that in, and, based off the way that DauT has set up his economy, he's gonna be good to just build a barracks. I mean, not a barracks, a blacksmith and a market, and then just go straight to the Castle Age and just have a relatively standard arena game. And yet, Kkab's still continually making villagers. Now, if you're DauT, this is where the warning signs happen. You're up to feudal. If your opponent is not up to feudal, I would say around 13-ish minutes, and they happen to be very good at the game. There's two explanations. Either your opponent is going for Fast Imperial Age if they're in the Dark Age forever, or they're just new and there's a lot of, like, unnecessary idle time. And in this case, of course, we know Kkab is a very good player, so it signifies the Fast Imperial Age, and this is something that the Turks like to do. While this strategy is incredibly powerful, it does carry a lot of weaknesses with it, which we're going to see as this game drags on. For starters, when you go for something like a Fast Imperial Age, it requires you to set up your economy in a very bizarre way. Look how much gold he's mining, and this is because Kkab is going to make clever use of the market that he's going to build in the Feudal Age to go buy and sell resources so that once he gets to the Castle Age, he'll have enough to get to the Imperial Age really, really quickly. And then by dropping down like a university and a siege workshop, or he might go the monastery and the siege workshop route, he'll be basically good to go. And with that siege workshop, he can make bombard cannons from it, he can make hand cannoneers from a few archer ranges, and just go ham. The thing with the strategy, though, is, again, you have to set up your economy kind of weird. You don't actually put down any additional town centers for quite a while. You're going to have a very, very small amount of villagers. Once you get to the Imperial Age, you spend so much money invested in getting there that once you do get there, it's sort of like an all-in type deal. Your eco will be so very weak that you can't really sustain production from, too many different military buildings. It's going to be really hard to build up an economy in that time, get out more town centers and villagers because you're going to be spending a lot of food on hand cannoneers, and the bombard cannons, archer ranges, and whatnot are going to eat up all that wood for additional town centers. It can be a really, really tricky strategy to execute right. And you kind of bank on catching your opponent off guard and doing enough damage to them that it offsets that really, really weak economy that you're going to have. And I think that the biggest mistake that I see players do when they do go for this strategy on something like Black Forest is that they just neglect to build up an economy while they're doing this strategy. It's so easy to get wrapped up in your hand cannoneer production, your bombard cannon production, and just forget to make villagers, because this strategy isn't necessarily the end-all be-all. It can really catch your opponent off guard and maybe even kill them sometimes, but sometimes they'll continue to fight. And hopefully in this game, we might be able to see how DauT responds to this situation, and if all goes well, he might live just a little bit, because there is counterplay to a strategy like this. And right now, DauT going for, some sick farming simulator right here. He's booming like crazy. He's going up to his 4th TC right now, which is pretty early to have that, and he's just going to keep pumping out villagers. Look at this gold amount. Again, guys, it's very, very important that he's stockpiling this much gold, as the market is going to be critical here, and it looks like we got a barracks coming down. He's going to need the barracks so that he can make archer ranges. The siege workshop is being built right now. Archer range coming down, and well, he's on his way to be able to advance relatively soon. I think that Kkab could have already gone up yet if he perhaps queued up that monastery before the archer range, but that's fine too. Could have gone up maybe just a little bit sooner because he can go buy a little bit of food here, and he's so very close. Economy looking really, really strong, and now he has enough resources to advance the Imperial Age. Just needs to wait for this monastery to finish, and then it's the gunpowder blitzkrieg time. But if you're DauT, you should see this coming. The Castle Age time, very slow. The Feudal Age time, very slow. The reason that you need to sit in the Dark Age for so much longer when you go for a strategy like this is because while you're advancing through the ages, like while you're advancing to the Feudal Age, all the villagers that you have already are the only villagers that you're going to have. And if you have more villagers while you're advancing, you're going to be stockpiling a lot more resources. And we need to stockpile a lot of resources when going for a Fast Imperial Age strategy. So you need a lot of villagers, a lot extra in the Dark Age. It's okay to delay your advancement time for this, as you do start with walls, and with these walls on Arena, you don't really get attacked until the Castle Age. So while the Fast Imperial Age would leave you extremely vulnerable in most situations, in this case it's alright. And it looks like Kkab is going to be making a monk and going to be competing for the relics a little bit, while DauT is just completely content to go for like a super boom here. I'm kind of interested as to why DauT doesn't have a monastery and is not actually competing over the relics, as normally that's a very, very important thing to do in Arena. But DauT is just content here to boom up, and in response to this, the thing is here is that he knows that this Turks opponent's going for a Fast Imperial Age based off his delayed advancement time. So what DauT's doing is he's taking an interesting response to this. There are two ways to respond to a Fast Imperial Age. One, you can start making a Castle Age military in anticipation of it. Start making the appropriate units, like you start massing up a bunch of knights, maybe go for like skirms and mangonels, or a combination of all of them. And you start making an early defense and try and defend against that. Maybe you build a defensive castle as well. Or you can be like DauT and recognize that one of the biggest weaknesses of this strategy is that the Turk player is going to have a super, super weak economy. So that by going for a huge boom like this, DauT ensures that if he survives, then he is most certainly going to win this game, as he's going to have a huge, huge economy lead. One thing, though, that will make this strategy particularly devastating is that since DauT is spending all of his wood, on farms, additional early town centers, that his opponent, Kkab, is going to have all the relics, and that's going to give him a ton of gold income and make him a force to be reckoned with. Kkab, up to the Imperial Age, it's happening. Here comes the Bombard Cannon queued up, and we have 2 hand cannoneers. If you're wondering why Kkab isn't making Janissaries, that's a really good question. You can certainly go for like a standard boom into an Imperial Age, make Janissaries. You can also, drop a forward castle on your opponent and create Janissaries from there. But the thing is, if you're going for a Fast Imperial Age, it's not about the Janissaries, it's about the hand cannoneers. Because you can mass up the hand cannoneers, much, much, much quicker. By being able to have, 2 archer ranges, and ooh, this scout gonna get a free monk kill. That's quite unfortunate. And, you can't really go for a Fast Imperial Age and then still dedicate the necessary amount of villagers on stone to be able to build the castle, right? So that's why players typically go for the hand cannoneers. Alright guys, so we see the Bombard Cannon is moving forward here from Kkab, and Kkab is of course spotted out. DauT knows this is coming, and he put up a barracks. This barracks is a little bit late maybe from DauT, but DauT has a plan, and his plan, guys, is it looks like he's going to drop down 3 stables right now, start massing up knights. Now, DauT, I think, has been waiting like the maximum amount of time for something like, in order to respond to a strategy like this. He's on about 89 population, so he's close to about 85 villagers. His opponent has, somewhere along the lines of like, the low 40s amount of villagers, so DauT is about double that villager count, as he's really prioritizing the economy in response to this, and we're going to see if that's the right call here, as the hand cannoneers are in. Bombard cannons are great, as they allow you to breach your opponent's walls, put pressure on their buildings. You need to throw in bombard cannons when you do a strategy like this, and it's important to go for the archer ranges so you can be producing, 2 hand cannoneers at once as opposed to like 1 janissary, and yeah. He's just pumping out stuff. You need the Bombard Cannon here to put pressure on the buildings, because while hand cannoneers do alright damage to buildings, you're just not able to kill them fast enough, right? Also, the hand cannoneer is extremely weak to the mangonel unit that your opponent will have access to in the Castle Age, and the Bombard Cannon is a counter unit to said mangonel. DauT making mass knights, and while knights do get absolutely slaughtered by Kkab's army, if you have enough knights, you can charge the Bombard Cannons and you can just clear out the entire army of hand cannoneers. So right now, DauT trying to reach that critical mass while Kkab putting on the pressure. He has, of course, the free Hussar that the Turks do get. They get that Hussar upgrade for free, so this is his scout at the start. Moving in there, an extra troop definitely helps. A couple of monks thrown in here as well to threaten converting those knights, so I really like that Kkab is putting that in there, and since he has all that extra gold income from the relics, he can afford to do this. Look at all the pressure that this strategy is putting on. Kkab just doing so much damage to DauT's economy. DauT is in really, like, some serious danger. However, the cavalry has arrived, literally. He has a huge army of knights. Will it be enough? He has 21 knights. He's going to be charging at Kkab's units. Who's going to win this battle? It's going to be really difficult for DauT. I'm not really sure because Kkab does have 3 monks, so he will be able to get a couple of conversions. He does looks like he gets about 2 conversions of those knights off, and that is going to be really devastating for DauT. DauT trying to take up bombard cannons, but there's so many of them, and the thing is that hand cannoneer is so good in that close-up combat. Oh, this is such a ridiculously close fight, but it looks like both players here are gonna break out relatively even. There's another conversion on a knight there, and it looks like Kkab is gonna barely lose this fight. And once you start running out of hand cannoneers, your bombard cannon's unprotected. And then, that is absolutely terrible for you, as these bombard cannons are insanely expensive. You cannot afford to lose all of that wood and gold. But the area effect damage of those bombard cannons is gonna make this fight basically completely even. However, DauT has a plan. The thing here, the problem with going for some mass knights is that takes up all your food and gold that you would use to get the Imperial Age, and DauT is nowhere near the Imperial Age. But that's probably fine. What he's going to do is he's going to get fletching right now before this blacksmith dies. Kkab actually not going to kill that blacksmith. Is going to opt to go blow up these archery ranges instead. So fletching might go through, or it might not. That's the question. Is he going to get fletching? Actually, he might get fletching. I think the blacksmith probably should have been blown up, as DauT going to narrowly squeeze that one out. Looks like he's going to be mixing in skirms along with his knights, and I really like this from DauT, as he can use the knights to go charge down the bombard cannons, and the skirms are a pretty reasonable counter to both the monks and the hand cannoneers. So yeah, he's just throwing in a wider variety of units. This also allows him to stockpile a little bit more gold, because that's what he's going to need to get to the Imperial Age, so that is certainly the response that I like. Meanwhile, back at home, Kkab on a second town center right now. You see him mining gold in the corner, and the pressure is on. We're at 127 population, Kais to 67, so while Kkab has blown up a town center, he's blown up a lot of buildings, and he's really delayed DauT's Imperial Age. He hasn't, actually applied the killing blow yet. DauT managing to hold the line, waiting until really the last second to start making a military, and it's really paying off in this situation. DauT going for that macro response, building up a huge economy. He has at least 100 villagers right now. I mean, if we swap back to his perspective, and we go to the military tab, he has 14 military units, which means that he has, wow, 120 villagers, so that's a lot. But the thing is here is that it might seem like DauT is just really making an unnecessarily large economy, but when you are not able to, sustain troop production, and you're not, pop capped, he has so much population room left. He needs money to be able to constantly produce units and overwhelm Kkab, because Kkab will not have enough money to go fight against this. When you're only at 130 population and your military units are just dying as they spawn out, build more military production facilities like DauT is. This is how you defend. And you overboom. You can delete your extra villagers later, but right now, they are very, very strong. So far, this has been a fantastic game. What I like about this is that Kkab doesn't appear to be the completely dominant one in this situation, and when I saw this replay, I was a little bit concerned that, I guess, every single strategy that was, archived on AOC box, most of them at least, would be very, very dominant for the person who's doing the non-standard break the meta strategy. But it looks like here that Kkab is not in a completely advantageous position, and in fact, DauT is almost set himself up that he could potentially be able to push this back. We'll have to see. A big problem that's going on right now is that the Kkab has a lot of bombard cannons, but he doesn't have enough hand cannoneers. The bombard cannons are more of like a support unit, and they're designed to discourage your opponent from building mangonels, and I love this combination of knights and skirms. So very hard to deal with. Kkab just doesn't have enough production facilities to be able to fight back against this. He's on 3 archer ranges, but 3 is not enough. Look how weak his economy is. He's put up another town center, so he's on 3, but he's just so far behind in villagers. And when you run out of hand cannoneers, what are you going to do to defend your bombard cannons? Wow, Kkab actually getting pushed back here. Some phenomenal defense here from DauT. He's managed to defend against the Turks. Fast Imperial Age rush, which is a strategy that is incredibly hard to defend against. So I have to say I'm incredibly impressed here as, you know, DauT poised to make a comeback in this situation. DauT may have lost the front half of his base, but he's looking good, looking good. Wow, yeah, we can really see the weaknesses of a strategy like this, where the population is just devastating. Look at Kkab, he's at, wow, he's behind by like almost 100 population. We're at 82, 172. DauT, huge with an army of skirmishers, an army of knights. Look how fat his economy is. And it's just, also he has so many military production facilities, and he needs this. He's setting up his economy right now to get ready to go to the Imperial Age, and then launch a huge counterattack as Kkab is crippled and weak. It's going to take him forever to build an army back up. He's got a bunch of hand cannoneers at the back here. Notice how he also got the defense upgrades for them. You're certainly going to need that to be able to resist those knights, resist those skirms, and DauT getting ready to apply some counter pressure. Well, in the meantime, Kkab is going to try his best to build up his economy, get back in shape, as it looks like DauT is just stockpiling so many resources. Does he have the necessary buildings to go up to the next stage? Looks like DauT does not, so he has the Siege Workshop and the University going up now. On his way to the Imperial Age, all these stockpiled resources are going to be great for techs, and at 183 population, DauT is looking really, really good here. He'll be able to get all those techs with all that stockpiled money, and his counterattack's going to be devastating. But I think he's going to wait till he gets to the Imperial Age, so that way he can get all sorts of upgrades like Bracer, for example. He might get the Cavalier upgrade. And yeah, I think that Kkab on the back foot right now. It's going to be interesting to see how he responds to this, as Turk Rush games, you know, you either kill them with the initial push, which happens a lot, honestly. It's great to see someone actually defending against it successfully. Is that you either end it right there with that initial push, or you get pushed back. And the question is, how much do you want to commit to that? And Kkab, with perhaps an excess number of bombard cannons, is going to get really, really punished for not making enough hand cannoneers and just having such a weak economy. If you get pushed back, then you have to transition to this weird stage where your opponent has a much bigger economy than you, but you're still in the Imperial Age, they're still in the Castle Age, so you can use that time frame while they're waiting for a counterattack to get all their technologies and stuff, where you will build up your own economy and try to match your opponent, and then the game will sort of play out standard from there. One thing that really concerns me, though, is that Kkab is the Turks, and his gold mines are running low. He's starting to run out of access to safe gold mines, and, well, without access to safe gold mines, the Turks do just typically crumble in a situation like this. He does have one at the front of his base, but the keyword is at the front. When DauT engages, he's going to most certainly try and attack from this side, which is why Kkab is here. Because DauT knows that there is a gold mine here, and he wants to make sure that when he attacks that Kkab does not get to mine from that. A bunch of stables coming down. This is something that we really commonly do see the Turks throw in. They love to spam their Hussars for support, especially when gold starts to run low. Hussars can be a very, very powerful support unit, and they're really the only trash unit that you get, and since you get all the upgrades for them free, why not? They're also going to be exceptional against these elite skirmishers, as DauT finishing up his blacksmith upgrades. Is that a mangonel? It looks like he's throwing in the battering rams. Castle coming down here, so now that DauT's up to the Imperial Age, it's going to be all about trebuchets, of course, if he goes on the offensive, and these battering rams are going to also be used for pushing, but it looks like Kkab is not really defending at this point. Normally this is where the Turk player will be the one who's defending in his own base, but Kkab moving up here, knowing that DauT just got to the Imperial Age, right, so he's missing a lot of upgrades. Kkab thinks that he has one more shot here with this push. Getting the defense upgrades on his Hussar is always a good idea to prioritize your defense upgrades on your melee units so they last longer, they can get up to your opponent and do some solid damage. And it looks like we're going to see another engagement soon as Kkab throwing in more unit production facilities. However, DauT floating so much cash, he is absolutely rich. He's not really spending it, though, right now, as he's just kind of backing up his army and presumably waiting for upgrades. Pikemen coming down here. Is Pikemen going to be a good answer to the Hussar unit conscription from that castle? Looks like he's teching into Elite Samurai. Hell yeah. Go get him, DauT. As more units being queued up, he's going to build a castle at the back here, and DauT's just trying to stall as Kkab moving the line forward. But remember, guys, it's 185 population to 153, so Kkab's still behind. The Turk rush, you know, is all about hopefully you cripple your opponent as much as you crippled your own economy by going for something like this. And on a map like Arena and Black Forest, where it's easy to wall up, or you just start with walls, then a strategy like this can certainly work. But you have to be able to do enough damage to your opponent that you're sort of on even terms at this point, as Kkab is most certainly not. Cavalier upgrade is up from DauT, and that's exactly what DauT was waiting for. He was waiting for his Bracer upgrade, he was waiting for Cavalier, and he's going to start charging down these hand cannoneers. The cool thing here is that when you're the person who's defending and you're making all these counter units like Knights and Skirmishers, then you're actually able to really do so much damage to the Turks players' economy because their units are so very expensive and every penny is very, very precious to them. Conversely, though, if you force your opponent to mass a bunch of Knights, you further delay their Imperial Age. And if your opponent cannot get to the Imperial Age, it is really, really hard to close out a game, let alone push back this strategy. You can still stall, though, in the Castle Age, and that's exactly what DauT did with his Expert Defense. And here comes the Elite Samurai. This is sick. I did not expect to see this, actually, to be honest, from DauT. Elite Samurai have an attack bonus versus all unique units, but the thing, though, is with something like Elite Samurai, is they're still infantry units, and hand cannoneers are like the anti-infantry units, so it's really cool to see Samurai here, as there's actually no unique unit from Kkab at all. Kkab isn't making Janissaries. In fact, I don't even think he has a castle at all. Yeah, he doesn't actually have a castle yet. The thing, though, is with the Samurai is that they're just a very powerful unit in general, and yeah, I guess you just might as well throw them in. They do shred right through those Hussars and the hand cannoneers. You know, they do have to, if you shoot at all the Elite Samurai, then you take so much extra damage from those Elite Skirmishers, and Kkab doesn't really have an answer to all these mass Elite Skirmishers. Bombard Cannons are a pretty good way of dealing with this, Hussars are a pretty good way, but he can't make Hussars because there's all these Elite Samurai in the front. DauT just putting down as many siege workshops as he can, as he wants these battering rams to go soak up all those elite skirmisher shots, as units do fire at the units that are closest to them. And Kkab forced to back up. DauT looking really, really strong here. This is nuts. This is actually crazy. It blows my mind to see how well DauT is playing against a strategy like this. I don't think that this, I think this video is a very accurate representation of how this strategy can go, but sometimes you do just kill your opponent, and perhaps I will revisit this in the future and show you guys other situations in which the Turk rush is even better. Because DauT right now is demonstrating how to defend against this strategy, showing us that it does have weaknesses, but this is a very, very potent strategy that should not be underestimated. A lot of the time, it just flat out kills your opponent, and Kkab putting down a defensive castle right now, which is good, as it will punish DauT from going this far forward, but now with his own forward castle, with more villagers building his, that's a huge threat. And Kkab's army just getting slaughtered here by DauT's troops. The Elite Skirmisher is so good in this situation, and the Elite Samurai, I mean, really, like, Kkab just can't make Hussars in this situation to go deal with that anymore, and he has to focus fire down the Samurai. And he doesn't have enough hand cannoneers to go stop them either. The Samurai are also so very powerful against those Knights with their ridiculous attack speed, just great combat stats, and Kkab just crumbling, 188 to 99 population, DauT practically doubling this one. And this is all about his huge macro-oriented playstyle. He decided to build up a massive economy here, delay his military until the last possible second. It was a gambit that very much paid off in this situation, and it looks like Kkab actually gonna crumble. Oh, look at these two. They're so sweet. Aw, they're actually sharing a stone mine. That's super cute. Just in time, of course, for Kkab to resign. So GG, well played, DauT and Kkab. Always a pleasure to watch these two guys play. Some great, great Age of Empires 2 matches. So we can see here that actually, in a shocking twist, the protagonist, the person who's going for the non-standard strategy in the Break the Meta series, doesn't actually always win. I do try to throw in a match like that every now and then just to surprise you guys and keep it interesting. I think it would be a little bit boring if we see that the non-standard strategy always wins. Because the thing is here is that something like a Turk rush isn't the metagame for a reason, as the strategy is not necessarily completely consistent. There are answers to it. It is a pretty powerful tool to have at your disposal, especially to catch an opponent off guard. The Turks certainly get some use when you're playing with the Hidden Civilizations setting, and your opponent doesn't know what civ you're going to pick, so they just might not be ready for the Turks' Fast Imperial Age. And this strategy, very, very potent. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, but if your opponent manages to defend against the initial attack with the right unit choices, then you do, generally speaking, you kind of crumble. And DauT, being the expert player that he is, he knows exactly how to deal with a Turk rush like this. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, and in this case, DauT with some very, very convincing defense. Alright, well, how about we go check out the achievements section? To the achievements menu! Wow. What a crazy game. I mean, really, to put this in perspective for you guys is that Kkab, oh, do I not get any victory music? Age of Empires 2, why you do this to me? I guess I'll flip back on the old soundtrack anyway in the meantime. I mean, just to showcase how powerful this strategy actually is, this game is a lot closer than it seemed. You know, in fact, Kkab actually managed to kill more units than DauT did, and they both had very, very equivalent army sizes. Throwing in those monks at the start, I think, was a great choice from Kkab, and he managed to secure all those relics, which made this push just a little bit stronger, and the monks do punish your opponent for going for knights. If you won that early engagement, he basically would have won the game, because DauT had to invest so much of his food and gold into knights, which slows down his Imperial Age time, makes it even harder to defend against this. But DauT did get out, actually, the critical number of knights, and his boom was just very, very, very strong. This, though, when we look at the military side of things, Kkab was not winning hard enough. Raised 12 buildings, yes, but he didn't really kill enough villagers. Like, he blew up the town center, he blew up a couple buildings. In the end, didn't really matter, though. Like, the units killed, the units lost is a little bit too close for our tastes. It's a little bit too close. Because this is devastating. Oh my god. Look at the difference in resources gathered between both players as Kkab's economy in absolute shambles. A 20 research count difference as DauT, playing a more standard Age of Empires 2 game. We know his Imperial Age was delayed substantially, but his economy was just huge. He gets to get all the technologies, and for the Turks player, this is more of an all-in type strategy. You're kind of putting all your eggs in one basket here, and see, the delayed feudal age is very, very important that you do delay your feudal age. It's okay to get to the castle age slower when you do a strategy like this, and we can compare their advancement times. And this is sort of how a standard Turks Fast Imperial Age rush will work out. 23-minute Imperial Age from Kkab, very, very scary. But not quite good enough here. It's 94 to 138 villagers. I mean, really, like, again, DauT has an awful lot of villagers. 138 is pretty crazy, but he needs that when his military is just not surviving long enough. And perhaps towards the end, he maybe had too many villagers, as we remember him stockpiling a lot of resources. He was absolutely rich, but towards the, you know, the mid-game, DauT needed all those villagers, and it's what allowed him to defend. I mean, look at the timeline. The timeline's very, very telling. When you go for this strategy, your military advantage better be sick. You better be blowing up some town centers, catching your opponent off guard, and just destroying them, as you're going to fall really, really far behind in the economy side of things. I would say, though, that this strategy can be very, very scary in team games, especially if your teammates do sling you some resources from their market. They start tributing you stuff. That can be very, very potent, and yeah. I look forward to bringing you guys more Break the Meta videos, of course. As always, your feedback is appreciated. This was a fun one of my personal favorite strategies, and this is apparently one of the more popular ones just on my YouTube channel in general. People really seem to like the Turks Fast Imp, and I'll probably be revisiting this strategy at a later episode of Break the Meta, where we can see a slightly different situation in which this strategy can be used as. Right now, didn't quite work out in this video. Next time, maybe it works out better. We'll have to see. I think that there are many ways to respond to this strategy as well, and I really like DauT's more macro-oriented one. However, you could commit to perhaps your own, counter early game aggression. The thing is here is that when you're going for a strategy like this, notice how vulnerable Kkab is until, around 24 minutes. He doesn't really have any military units, right? The 23-24 minute mark. So what if you attack him before that? Well, his economy isn't really set up in a way that he could possibly defend, so you can certainly punish your opponent in that sense. But Kkab banking on the walls being enough of a deterrent, and in this case it certainly was. Hope you guys enjoyed watching this video. If you did, don't forget to check out the rest of the stuff on my YouTube pages. I have plenty of other episodes of Break the Meta, as well as, videos of Age of Empires 2 and videos of other games. I also do live stream regularly on Twitch TV. I'd love to have you there. We have a wonderful community, and it'd be great if you could be a part of it. You can find a link to my Twitch TV page on the screen or in the video description below, and you can also find my live stream schedule on my Twitch TV page by going to my Twitch TV page and scrolling underneath the video player. I also do, of course, have a Facebook and Twitter. So let's see, anything else I wanted to talk about before I go? No, I think that's pretty good, and I will see you all in the next video. Thank you so much for watching, guys. GG, well played.